Hi, it's Deb with the Help Club for Moms, and we are on week 4 of the Joy Challenge for Moms. And this week we are talking about something that I can totally relate to, and that is the challenge of nagging thoughts. Let me tell you, do I have thoughts? They nag at you and they go round and round in your head. You can't seem to get rid of them. So Tommy, what do we do as moms? How do we get rid of those nagging thoughts?
Those nagging thoughts, so it's persistent thoughts. It's kind of like having a cough that won't go away, but instead of it being a cough, something you can treat with maybe some antibiotics or something like that, or just wait it out. The nagging thoughts are sustained. They don't go away. They're chronic, and because they're persistent, they kind of wreak havoc, on your entire ability to have joy.
Yes.
And so, what the mistake that people make, I've made it a lot, is you try to not think those thoughts. You know it's not a thought that's going to produce joy. But you try not to think it. That doesn't work. And I think of that as the law of exchange, that if you really want to get rid of a nagging thought, you have to think something different. And when you exchange the nagging thought or the negative thought, and most nagging thoughts are negative, but wouldn't it be cool if your nagging thoughts, we wouldn't call them nagging, but what if they were positive? And that's really where we want to get people to, is think on things that are lovely, pure, true, gracious, and just, and make that the default. So when you're in the kind of the situation where you're trying to unload those thoughts, you think about things that are good and positive. You remind yourself of your blessings.
That's so good.
You think about the nature and quality of God. You think about the people that you love. You think about the progress that you've made recently. And so when you're thinking of something, by default, you're not thinking of something else. So when you exchange a negative thought for a positive, it's naturally going to bring you a lot more joy.
That is so good. That is so good. Because I don't know about you, Leslie, but I struggle with negative thoughts. And they can really make you grouchy with your kids, and so that would really help me. And so what do you think? What's your experience been?
I agree, Deb. I also struggle with negative thoughts. There was a point in my life recently where I would go to bed thinking negative thoughts and wake up first thing in the morning. I would immediately start to think negative thoughts. And with the law of exchange, I have learned to exchange those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And I have found that in my life, I am now more gentler with my children and kinder to my husband. And it has made such a positive impact in my home. My home is now quieter. My home is now more loving. And it is through the law of exchange that I have learned how to do this. And it's just so simple to take a negative word in my head and change it with a positive one. And it is such a blessing, because I'm torn down through the negative thoughts in my head, and now I'm not. I was crushed by my thoughts. And
that is so. Do you know how much? You get stuff in from the Help Club messages, but we hear that all the time from women that are crushed. And then one other thing I'm going to ask is, you guys, 2 Corinthians 10:5. We talked about it. 2 Corinthians 10:5, where we take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. What does that mean? How do you take it captive to the obedience of Christ? There's a law of exchange, and then how do you fit that in with taking that thought captive to the obedience of Jesus?
Well, those are related. And so everything that you think should be something that you would be thinking if Jesus was physically in form in your presence right now. Think the way you would think if he was alongside you at any given moment. Think things that are consistent with the scriptures. Think things that reflect the best promises that God has made for our life. And when you do that, you're thinking, you're steering your thought life in obedience to Christ.
That is so good. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much. I hope this is helping. We're on week 4. We only have 2 more weeks of these videos to go. So if you haven't joined us, be sure to join us at the Joy Challenge for Moms. And we can't wait to see you next week. Thanks for watching.